You might have heard very sad news this last weekend that a rabbi in Michigan was murdered, Rabbi Sam Wohl. There was immediate, wondering, people like if it's had to do with Israeli-Palestinian conflict. In fact, there are people, right wingers who were immediately actually tying her death to Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, she's actually a constituent of. I'm sorry, I got this wrong. She's not a rabbi. She's the board of her synagogue, but she. There was a lot of consternation around. Then Rashida Tlaib, that she's responsible for this kind of violence. Here's the problem: is that this is a very progressive person, progressive member of her congregation, and also worked a lot on Muslim-Jewish relations. Is a friend of Rashida Tlaib's. They're actually personal friends, and I'd say that the flip side of some of the examples that Zion McDaniel was giving us here is that we're living a real McCarthyist moment, right? That people are what people are saying that saying free Palestine is anti-Semitic. That's insane. Saying free Palestine is not anti-Semitic. Believing that the Palestinian people deserve to not live in abject, horrific conditions like the way they have for decades and decades, it is not anti-Semitic. That is just as saying the two-state solution is not anti-Semitic. But we're seeing it over and over again. I've seen news of this people losing their jobs because they're expressing support for the Palestinian people, or even calling for a ceasefire. I know of people are ratting on family members of folks saying hey, do you know your kid is participating in a ceasefire demonstration? And this is when we cannot, Jews, Christians, Muslim, whoever, when we cannot call for a ceasefire in a moment of war without being called anti-Semitic, or without being being called anti-Israel at a minimum, that's just plain McCarthyism. That's what's actually happening. People are losing their jobs. A lot of this. I work with organizations across the country. You think it's good that people are losing their jobs for that's for being pro-Palestine?
I'm not going to argue with you during your speech, but the anti-Semitism that's being allowed right now is gross, and you guys do not see it right.
Saying free Palestine is not anti-Semitic.
That's not anti-Semitic.
Well, then
there's a lot
that
isn't what is going on.
You can both settle down.
That isn't what's going on.
You can both settle down, because what I was talking about was that is what people are coming after them for. It's for calling. It's calling for ceasefire, for standing up in any way for Palestinian people, for saying free Palestine. There are people freaking out because there are kids doing a walkout in a diner that who are supporting a Palestinian state, free Palestine. They're allowed to believe that. That's not anti-Semitic. And what is actually happening is we'll see it. We see it right here. That it's cancel culture when the left does it, but it's perfectly fine if it suits a right-wing agenda.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And with that, I am Democratic strategist and the Puerto Rican heat, Javier Murillo.